Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Survival Minecraft. My name is Cloudfeet, and today we are gonna do some stuff. I don't know exactly what that is yet, because I haven't decided, but rest assured that it will be fun, and it will involve Minecraft, and it'll probably be in this world. So, let's go! First thing on the agenda today is figuring out what we're gonna do with all these carrots. So I built the farm to farm the carrots, and then I didn't do anything with the carrots, and so now I've got too many carrots. So a couple of ideas, well, I guess the direction that I wanna kinda go into is, I have an item filter over here for bone meal that is taking the poppies from the iron farm and putting them into a composter. You can see a tiny sliver right there of the composter. So that is turning poppies into bone meal, but you can see it's not really working very fast, and I've got way too many carrots right there. And also, I've got them starting to fill up everything down here as well. So we got to get rid of some carrots. Okay, so first things first, I just finished emptying out a little bit of the bulk item storage that we have here, but obviously I didn't empty out all of it. I put it into these shulker boxes, and while this is a temporary solution, it at least frees us up a little bit of space. So I think the easy button here is just for us to go ahead and get rid of that hopper right there and throw let's see if I can get there. Throw a composter on the back of this, and then that way, that composter will turn all the carrots into bone meal, and we can just pull that bone meal out and manually sort it later on. But at least we won't have carrots clogging up our system. I mean, maybe we'll have some bone meal clogging up our system pretty soon, but we can find a more permanent, who's leaving doors open? A more permanent solution later on, but for right now I think that will suffice. So what I'm gonna do now is kind of pull out all of the carrots that I did not put into shulker boxes, which is still quite a few, and I'm gonna run those back through the system so that they can get composted. Of course, my brain oversimplified that just a bit, because we also need to make sure that this hopper right here underneath is pointing down into that composter. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and we're just going to end up filling back up with carrots. All right, so we are all finished up with the carrots. We got everything sorted, and we are now turning the carrots into bone meal. And while I was up here, I started to notice that I'm running into the exact same issue with the potatoes and with the pumpkins. We're running out of storage space, so I have two different solutions that I want to implement, but they are going to be different than what we did with the carrots. We are not just going to turn the pumpkins or the potatoes into bone meal, because I think we're probably going to have enough bone meal as it is. All right, so how are we going to deal with the potatoes? Well, first, let me reintroduce you to this area. If you're not familiar, this is the part directly underneath the base, where I have all of the water streams running back into the storage system. Now, this water stream that's inside here is the water stream that's carrying the cactus into the XP smelter. This water stream right here is the water stream that carries the carrots, the beetroots, and the potatoes back into the sorting system. So, what I did, if we can go down here, boop. All I did was I created an item filter that's going to filter out all the potatoes, drop them into this dropper, which will then put all of the potatoes into this water stream and push them over into the water stream with the cactuses, meaning we are going to take all of those potatoes and put them into the XP smelter. So now we can start using more than 2 furnaces in this array, because basically we have these 2 furnaces burning all the time, because that's all that massive cactus farm can support. So now we also have this potato farm pushing potatoes into there. So, I mean, that'll at least maybe get another 2 furnaces running. That'll be good, and it won't be overflowing our storage with potatoes. Now to deal with the pumpkins. So, we have all of this pumpkin storage to deal with as well. We have way too many pumpkins. And yeah, we could turn them into bone meal, but I want to turn them into something a little bit more valuable. And you can see I've already kind of started doing it. I'm just going to spend probably about the next hour or so, because I got a little bit of time, just going through here and converting all of these pumpkins into emeralds. And that'll cut down on it a little bit. And then I think after we are done with that, we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to just turn this farm off, which we can do by activating the redstone line on the top and pushing these pistons forward, giving the pumpkins nowhere to grow. Or, second option here, I can go through there and get rid of about half of the pumpkin plants and replace them with melon plants. And we can start farming melons, because I believe that I have a spot up there for melons. And that, I mean, that would be cool, right? If we had melons, we could use those in building. We don't have a spot for melons, but we could put one. We got one little empty spot over there. So maybe melon farm? Is that our next thing that we do? I don't know. Maybe. So while we are over here trading away all of our pumpkins for emeralds, we might as well use those emeralds to gather up some quartz and quartz pillar from our stonemasons, so that we can finish up that unfinished ender pearl farm that I've been working on. And you know, I'm not really motivated to work on it right now, and I'm not going to go back to it until I am. But when I am ready to work on it, it'd be nice to have the materials already in hand. After a bit of trading, we still haven't been able to make even a dent into those pumpkins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this farm off for now. And, you know, this may not be the most elegant solution to getting these turned off, but hey, it works. So I'm going to do it on this side. I'll go do it on the other side. Then we can maybe move on to working on something more exciting. Or maybe we can do something even more boring. All right, so enough housekeeping. If you remember last episode, you'll remember that we built this facade, and I said we were going to put a library behind it. So if we said we were going to do it, let's do it. First thing I'm going to work on putting in is a floor. It'll probably be pretty temporary, but I just want to get a base laid down, and then I have a good idea of how I want to build this. So let's get started. So the floor's in, and this is about the size it's going to be. I actually moved this back just a little bit, and then I cut the roofs off of these two rooms. So I'm not 100% sure how this is going to look once we're done, or what we're going to do underneath here. But I do know that I want to use all of this space under here. Whether or not there are still rooms after we're done, I'm not 100% sure. But you can see kind of the scale that the library is going to be. At this time, I plan to put 37 different librarians in here and have them kind of lining the walls. But this is basically it. This is the basic shape. I don't know how far back it's going to go yet, but I do know I don't want it going any wider than we have already gone. After I put another row of stone variants there so that it's symmetrical on both sides. So I have gotten the basic parts of the room put up, and I'm doing this a little bit different than I normally do. Usually when I'm building something, I'll build the technical or the functional part of the room first and then kind of build the room around it. And I'm going in the opposite direction here. I wanted to focus more on aesthetics because I mean, I already have an area that underneath here that is functional. So I wanted a really aesthetically pleasing area here. So I think the focus more here is again, just making it look nice. And I think so far so good. I've used red terracotta up in the ceiling, and I'm continuing with the dark oak and the stone variant walls. These are going to be mostly covered up. And I've got to add a ton of detail in this room. But it's starting to come together. All right, awesome. So we got the ceiling all put in. You notice that we put some trap doors here. And what's special about those is that I put soul torches behind them. So each one of these oak trap doors, except for that one, has a soul torch behind it, and that's so that the ceiling is lit up enough that you can see it, but it's not so bright that it looks unnatural or weird. So ceiling's done. I think it turned out pretty well. Next thing we're gonna put in is gonna be a second floor that's gonna run across these pillars right here. So the first part of the room is gonna be just wide open right here, and then there will be a second floor that runs across right there. All right, first floor complete. So you can see we used a lot of different types of woods. We used the dark oak logs. We used both spruce stairs and spruce slabs. There's slabs somewhere. Either way, what I'm really enjoying about 1.18.1 is that we don't have to light up every single thing super bright. You can see that there's some dark spots here, but if you look over there on the left-hand side, the light's still at 7, 8, 9. There are no spots in here where the light level goes down to 0. So it makes it to where we can have these builds that are a little bit moody. So yeah, I think it's coming together. Couple of cool, neat little features. Let me just break this. So first, where the villagers are going to be standing, there are double carpets, which should disable their AI and make the world a little bit less laggy. But then also, we have a line right here of sweet berry bushes that the villagers won't cross. So they'll stand back here, and you don't have to have a bunch of stuff in front of them or anything like that. Now, we do have to make sure that no zombies get in here, or we're going to have a real bad time. But, oh, actually, no, because the zombies won't cross the sweet berry bushes either. So it's kind of a cool little feature that will protect the, that will protect the villagers from both zombies and keep them from wandering around. For the most part, they should stand in one spot right there, and you should be able to interact with them while they're in that same spot. Now, what eventually I want to do is go through and have all of the books labeled on here alphabetically and fill up these barrels with those books. Now, we said initially 37. I think there's 27 slots because some of the villagers are going to have more than one book trade. But like I said, I don't know if I'm going to have the librarians in here alphabetically. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to see how cumbersome that gets, but I'm definitely going to have all the books stored up here alphabetically so it's super easy to find them. So what I'm going to work on next, let me show you. How do I get there? Let's go this way. What I want to work on next is getting the librarians moved up into that area. And how we're going to do that, our first librarian to go is this guy right here, because this guy has an aqua affinity book. So you can see I kind of made a channel here, and they are standing underneath. He's right there. So we'll drop him down here, and I built this water stream that will take us all the way over, and I'll just follow him and kind of push him, and it pops up right there. So that's what that thing is, if you were wondering about that. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to block off this area and then try and push him in, maybe. I don't want to put him into mine carts because I don't want to deal with them. You know how they kind of teleport to this, that, or the other spawnable block when you knock them out. So I'm going to try and push him in and see how hard that is. And if it gets too cumbersome, then we'll try something else. Holy moly, a lot of time has passed since that last clip. So couple of things. First, I got a new computer. It's running pretty well. I think everything looks pretty good here. It definitely video edits quite a bit better than my old computer. Second, I got all these librarians and clerics put in. I decided to stop a little bit short. I need to get a few more librarians, but I need to start looking and seeing what books I have and what books I'm missing. You'll notice that I also had to move these barrels back because the librarians actually wouldn't fit on top of the carpet underneath the barrel, because it makes it less than, 2 meters or whatever their hitbox is. So they were too tall to fit in that space. So I ended up having to like I said, get rid of those barrels. Thing number 3 that we did, we finished up the second floor. I am not in love with the floor up here, but that is okay. I am in love with these shelves and the detailing in these shelves. I also love the banister up on the second floor. I didn't realize there was a piece of glowstone there. That's what I paused on. But I do love the banister up on the second floor, and it's kind of a faux floor because there's nothing back there. It's just here. I guess I can show you. Just a little walkway. So I may come back and do something with this part later. I tried a bunch of different iterations on this floor, and none of them seemed to work in my brain. And even this one didn't work in my head. But one of the issues I was running into was trying to deal with the trap doors being on the other side. So when, like at first I tried to put just the red carpet around these shelves, but then you get this inconsistency on the floor. And so it's kind of hard to deal with and to make look nice. So I thought like, okay, it's got to be solid carpet then. And then it's got to have a pattern, but the pattern to me kind of looks almost too modern for the rest of the motif of the build. But it's okay. Other things I love, I still love this ceiling. I still think this is great. If you don't know what this is, you can see these smooth stone, I think is what they're called. Put these smooth stone in and you've got these 2 symbols. Now these are a part of the galactic alphabet, and you've got a C and an F. Unless I really screwed that up. Not 100% sure. But this floor, there's not a whole lot of functionality to it. There's not really anything that you would need to come up here for, or that I guess I'll need to come up here for, but I didn't want to leave an unfinished room. So we have the first floor done. We have the second floor done. I don't know if I'm going to work on the books and grinding all that out right now. In fact, I know that I'm not going to because I'm tired of working on this library. So it's time to move on and work on something else. And that something else is right in here. All right, so as you may or may not know, here in my storage room, I actually have an automatic item sorting system that sorts everything in all of these chests automatically. I've had it for 2 years and it is working really, really well. But after 2 years, I've accumulated a lot of items that I'm actually not filtering for. So a couple of quality of life, housekeeping things I need to do. First and foremost, I just need to go through here and add a bunch of these items to the filter and then go through the rest of these chests and condense anything down into shulker boxes that I can. So that's one of the things, one of the housekeeping items we need to kind of attack. The next thing I want to get after is trying to cut down on lag in the base. So I want to add basically on and off switches to almost everything. So that's what I did. Starting right here with the nether portal, you can see I put some amethyst geodes in the back just so it would kind of still look like nether portal, but here's how it works. You flick this lever right here and it turns on and then off and it breaks. That was loud. The way that works is there are these flint and steel right here that light the portal and a water bucket that will shoot just a little bit of water and retract it almost instantaneously, and that water is what breaks the portal. And if you look back here, here is the redstone. The design I went with, this isn't all the redstone, some of it is kind of buried back there, but the design I went with was by a guy named Slacker Cubed. So I won't even show all the redstone. I will just link down below so you can go to that person's channel and check out their video, and they'll show you exactly how to build that. Another thing I did was I added lights inside of the spider spawner right there. So now we have a solid on and off. I won't show you the redstone there just because it's a simple line that goes around those 3 lamps, and you can see as soon as we turn it off, spiders start spawning. Pretty cool. Next thing we worked on, right down here, Added an on and off switch for the flying machine inside the bamboo farm. So you see how when I flick that, it turns on. And as long as this is down like this, it'll keep running. But if it is up, it will stop it. And basically all it is there's a redstone torch back here that powers and unpowers this circuit. So pretty straightforward. Next thing I did was I put in this switch on the sugarcane farm. And you see when I flip it, all of those pistons extend and cover up the sugarcane, making it to where they can't grow anymore. Really straightforward redstone there as well. It's just a redstone line coming off this switch that powers all of those pistons. And then the last thing that we did, well, not the last thing. I have one more after this to show you. I just went through on the bee farm and put trapdoors here. And so there's nothing fancy with these. All we do if we want to run the bee farm is come in and open them up. And so what I'm going to try and do moving forward is just run like one farm at a time and do it during AFK time so that it's not so laggy in here all the time. There are things that I can't really turn off, namely 1, the cactus farm, 2, these villagers right here. The villagers inside the library are also causing, I mean, they eat up computer power, right? So anytime you have a bunch of entities, it's gonna stress your machine. So what I did under here, and if you're not familiar with any of this, these are the hopper mine carts that pick up all of the bamboo and then put it into the super smelter and into the XP smelter, right? What I did was I connected all of these tracks and made it into one big loop and then just reduced the amount of hopper mine carts we have in here, because I did have one for every 2 rails that you see right in front of me, and that was something in the neighborhood of like 15 or 16 hopper mine carts, which again, the more entities that you have in the world, the more basically the more of your CPU and GPU that you're going to be eating up. So trying to just kind of knock down some of those things and be smart about what we have in this world so that it's not getting super choppy in here. But now I'm going to go work on getting everything organized in the storage room. All right, so then all we have left is to go through here and get everything a little bit more organized and kind of do some more housekeeping on these items. But guys, I think I'm going to do that in between episodes, and I'll show you what happened at the beginning of the next episode. So for now, I think I am going to call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like and subscribe, all those things. If not, okay, that's fine too. Whatever. But my name's Cloudfeet, and I'll see y'all later. Have fun.